After 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, never before has so much been spent to achieve so little. Despite having doubled the national debt, today Statistics Canada confirmed that GDP per capita has fallen again for the 6th time in 7 quarters.
Shame.
Under this Prime Minister, Canadians have seen one of the steepest falls in the standard of living in our history. Why is this Prime Minister spending so much to make Canadians so poor?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives just can't resist talking Canada down. Yeah. That's why we are not hearing from them about inflation. For 4 months in a row being within the Bank of Canada's target range, and in April, the lowest it has been in 3 years, at 2.7%. That is why we are not hearing from them that last year Canada attracted the most foreign direct investment per capita in the entire G7. The other thing we're not hearing from them is all the programs they're going to cut, starting with the National School Food Program.
The Honourable Member from Charleswood St. James, Assiniboia, Headingley.
The fact of the matter is that a Canadian standard of living is declining. In the United States, GDP per capita has grown more than 8% since 2019. Right. Our economy is now underperforming the United States by the widest margin since 1965.
Right.
Well, under this Prime Minister, his government has grown morbidly obese. More Canadians are visiting food banks than ever before. This is economic malpractice. Why is the Prime Minister spending so much to make Canadians so poor?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, yet again, these Conservatives are relentlessly talking Canada down and concealing their austerity agenda. The reality is Canada has added 1.3 million more jobs than we had before the pandemic. The Canadian economy is 104% the size it was before the pandemic, a rate of growth second in the G7 only to the United States. And Mr. Speaker, we have preserved our AAA credit rating with a stable outlook.
The Honourable Member from Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes.
Speaker, the latest number from Stats Canada shows that under this Liberal government, Canadians have seen one of the steepest falls in living standards in our country's history. This means our quality of life has now dropped to the same level it was 8 years ago, while the unemployment rate is up from last year. After 9 years of this Liberal government, Canadians are worse off. They're working twice as hard to take in half as much. In fact, Canada's economy has stagnated, and Liberal policy is to blame. So why is the Prime Minister spending so much to make Canadians so poor?
The Honourable Minister for Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, it's amazing to hear the Conservative talking down Canadians, Canada, and our prospect, Mr. Speaker. Around the world, Mr. Speaker, people are talking about Canada. You know what? As my colleague said before, we have received the largest level of investment, Mr. Speaker, in our economy. You know why? Because we have the best workers in the world, Mr. Speaker.
That's right.
Because we have renewable energy. Because we have trade agreement with our G7 partners, Mr. Speaker. Right. Because we know what to make things in this country, Mr. Speaker. And while they talk down Canada on this side of the House, we will keep pumping up Canada, we'll keep being proud for this country, and we'll bring jobs in this country.
The Honourable Member from Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes.
Speaker, the Liberals are ruining the economy. Production of made-in-Canada goods and services has declined for the 4th straight quarter, the latest drop by 0.7% in the first 3 months of this year. Canada remains last of 37 market-based countries that haven't recovered from before the pandemic. In fact, Canada underperforms the American economy by the widest margin since 1965. And sadly, Canada's economy continues to stagnate under this Prime Minister's uncontrolled spending and punishing taxes. So why is the Prime Minister spending so much to make Canadians so poor?
The Honourable Minister for International Trade.
Mr. Speaker, I would like the Honourable Member to talk to the hundreds upon hundreds of Canadian companies who have come with me to many markets around the world where we have excellent trade agreements, where they are taking their services, they are taking their goods, they are taking their innovations, they are taking their creations, and they are selling. They are selling Canada around the world. And you know what they're doing in doing that? They're creating jobs. They're creating jobs from coast to coast to coast. We need to keep talking up the Canadian economy and Canadian businesses, and we're doing this on this side of the house, and I want to know why you're not.